So,
Okay.
how's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 11 of King's Court. I have with me myself, Brennan. I have Nick. I have
Hello.
I have Jordan.
Hello, I am Jordan.
And I have the walking woman moment, Venti.
Hello.
Uh, Sponsored by, I don't know, the Pokemon bot that I'm currently using to generate Pokemon into Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Don't say that Nintendo hates you now.
No, they actually don't. You're allowed to do it for all competitive stuff. Unironically, you're allowed to do it for all competitive stuff.
That might be true, but fun fact, Nintendo considers Nuzlocke to the same degree that they
Yeah.
consider ROM
Yeah,
hacks.
I know.
So I wouldn't give them that much credit.
Which,
fair.
in itself, we've talked about that, is super dumb because you don't even need to
You don't.
hack
You're,
the.
yeah, you're not changing the game at all. You're just changing how you play.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a great segue. But first, I'm gonna ask how everyone been. We just
How everyone been? I've been good.
yeah.
I've been gooder, and I've been the.
gooder.
Yep. You guys don't use me like when it's podcast time. You pull me out of like the filing cabinet, and you're like, "All right, sit in the chair, put on your funky gamer lights, turn on the microphone."
We just don't like advertising it to the audience.
Yeah, well, I'm speaking out. Okay.
No, it's not okay.
We should form a union.
No. Oh my fucking god! You guys are gonna unionize against me?
The Royal Union.
Fuck you. Union ended.
What? You can't veto a union. You're the manager.
I'm the person that
I mean, you
I
say
am
that, but
the
there's
union.
a whole bunch of millionaires that'll trying real hard to make sure those unions don't exist.
That's very true.
Yeah, I like.
So anyway, nobody answered how their week has been except for Jordan, who hit me with that shit.
But my week's been pretty good. I've been replaying through Fallout New Vegas for the 50th time. And
Oh, shout out.
Oh hell yeah! I found out even more stuff in that game that I didn't know existed. And I was like, that's neat. But yeah, my week's been pretty good.
Hell yeah.
My week's been swimming, and my head has been swimming because I'm being assailed by all sides by people who want me to play Warhammer.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I've been reading Warhammer rules books. So that's how my week's been
Warhammer
going.
rules books. Oof.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
Well, yeah. I would also say I've been doing that, but I have not dove into the Adeptus Custodes book that Caleb got me yet. I have.
Thought you were gonna just say I was gonna get to it, but I haven't.
I haven't.
The end.
Oopsie. Oopsie.
I mean, that's me. 'Cause I'm supposed to read a
Yeah,
book.
I just quite literally
Read anything.
haven't gotten to it yet, and it's sitting right there. I should probably will after this podcast while this is uploading.
We
Or
can
while this
talk
is exporting.
Necrons. I can teach you what infinitesimally little I know.
So
Damn, he busts out the thesaurus.
he's busting it. Yeah, I mean that's just Nick. Nick is a walking thesaurus. Also, because of the day this will be coming out, I'd like to give. Well, we can I guess decide right now, but a moment of silence because it will be November 11th
Oh, shout out.
when this releases.
Oh yeah.
That's a good shout. I mean, like, I knew it was a thing, and I knew it was
we could
tomorrow,
do that.
At
Yeah,
this
you know what?
very
Let's do
moment, I
that.
was
Let's
thinking
make sure
about
that our audio-only show
Yes.
has no audio.
Yeah, for
Wait.
a whole 90 seconds or whatever a moment technically is. But
Is it a minute?
yeah, I thought it was 90 seconds. I know it's called minute of silence, but I know that other ways
I
are.
thought it was 11 minutes of silence on the 11th day of the 11th month.
You know what? That works too. I'll break out the classic trumpet and play the song that everyone knows that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That song.
See, I'm sure you're talking about the actual song, but I could only think of the Frozen played by Airhorns.
Am I stupid? 'Cause
That
I
is a
don't know what November 11th is.
It's Remembrance Day. It's our mourning the veterans and people who fought in war day.
Oh, okay, it's Canadian. All right, I feel a lot less stupid.
Wait,
Yeah,
that's
so-
Canadian?
Is it just Canadian?
thought-
I thought America did it
I
too.
thought Everywhere did it.
I thought everywhere did it in the
might be
same
American.
day. I know that we do it on November 11th because that's when the Treaty of Versailles was signed.
Oh, it's called Veterans Day
Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
Veterans Day
in,
for
in
them.
Malta.
Does it also happen on 11? I might just be
Yes,
stupid.
yes, it does.
Okay, then
Seriously?
I am just... All right, I'm just all right.
Okay.
I like
Fine.
Remembrance more because it's
Yeah,
not just the
it's not just for
soldiers, it's also
veterans.
all of the people that the soldiers kill.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
Which is
So-
to say the civilians, to be clear.
Yeah,
There's a lot of dead civilians.
the innocents that are victims of war.
And it's a time to show gratitude for our own well-being.
And shout out to Vimy Ridge, specifically.
Yeah, conquered that shit like
Because-
104 years ago or something.
And it's still Canadian territory
That
in
sounds
France.
like it's too long ago, yet that almost certainly is accurate. When was Vimy Ridge?
Because
Vimy
they
Ridge
celebrated
was
the
World War
100th
One, right?
anniversary. Yeah, they celebrated the
1917.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
That is.
I remember my
over
high
100
school.
years ago. Yeah, all
My
right.
high school did an
High-
excursion
my
out
high-
to Europe
My high school. What?
to celebrate. They did a trip out to Europe to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Vimy.
Didn't you go to Beale?
Huh.
What?
Fuck.
I did not go to Beale.
Who am I thinking of? What school did you go? Fuck, my
I went to
my,
West, dog.
my early onset dementia is fucking killing me right now. But yeah, we will keep that brief because that's one way to turn a podcast depressing is to talk about that. But
Instead, we're going to talk about other depressing
yeah,
things.
other depressing, but slightly less so. But yes, thank you in spirit to all of the people who have unfortunately sacrificed their lives in the conquest of oil companies. Just kidding. Wars used to be fought nobly for things like territory.
I wouldn't say such a sort of statement
you
like
have
used
to-
to be fought nobly.
You gotta at least no butt me after the joke is made.
Oh, I didn't realize the joke was still going.
Yeah,
But,
no,
I'm a bad host.
Yeah, that's why the chemistry works so good.
Yeah. No, what the joke lineup was gonna be. Wars used to be fought for noble causes like territory and race.
Oh, thank you. Okay, you're correct.
Ah,
My
yes.
bad. My apologies.
Yes.
Nick's like, hey, whoa, I'm gonna stop you right there. And I'm like, man,
Good
please.
joke, and I messed it up. I'm sorry.
He just took an opportunity to poke holes right through all of your words.
Yeah, fuck, man. He just killed me live on camera. Fuck. Who's gonna put this up now?
Bang, bang.
I'll
No,
take
you're
over.
Dead.
I'll
Short
take
days
over.
ago- 12 minutes ago, you live.
If you die, do I get your basement room?
Yeah, sure. Just fucking do whatever you want. you get my basement room. All right, now that we've cheered back up, let's fucking depress it back down.
Hell yeah.
We're back on some dystopian gaming shit. And to lead us in, my small complaint is that Microsoft, how come the Nintendo Switch can withstand as many different varied internet connections as I desire, but your fucking Xbox can only keep to one, and I have to enter the password each time I want to get to a new one.
Yeah, even the PlayStation.
What's up with that?
Like stuff that'll just
Because I don't think the Xbox is designed to switch its stuff like that. Switch is supposed
to, but it still has the option of allowing you to remember networks. It's not too much to ask to have a fucking
To have it-
piece of
To have a
software in
console
this day and age.
remember
Remember
the network. It's
like
Hey
It's
man,
fucking-
I'm picking at straws same as y'all, man. I was just giving them.
giving
Oh,
them
no, I know.
something.
was just
I'm
giving
not
you an
bashing on
answer
you for
that I
being
think is
devil's
right.
advocate. I'm just letting you know why I think that there's not really much of an excuse that they have other than Microsoft is stupid big corporation.
Why is he not able to create the Zacian? I'll get to look this up later. Anyway,
Oh.
still talking about that bot that I was trading stuff in. Yeah, that's
Oh, true.
a very small complaint that no one has an answer for except for Microsoft, and they just tell you no. But like,
Well, I mean, the answer is they hate you.
that's, you know what? I had
And in the
failed to
end,
consider that.
Well, they're like, hey man, listen, the only way you can file a complaint is if you log on to Twitter using the internet. So if you're already
Makes
logged
sense.
on,
Maybe not for long. Thank you, Mr. Muskrat.
We're not talking about that today. That'll be next episode.
We're not touching
Well-
that particular
well,
avenue of the apocalypse. Okay,
we
okay,
can
don't have to.
we definitely can, but we got to get through everything else first because I already promised. I
Yeah,
only
no,
promised
we've
it
got.
to the good people of 2 to 5 that watch this podcast.
yeah, to me,
To myself,
tomorrow
yeah,
morning.
exactly. So, leaning into that is what I promised last week. How sweats and streamers, specifically competitive play, don't look at me when I'm saying I'm trying to get into competitive Pokemon. Go fuck yourself. But for
That's a little different though.
it is a little different, and
It's
I
different when you're.
will touch on that because they've ruined casual gaming, the competitive league playing, and streamers have really tanked casual and party play in games like Halo. Halo used to be a party game. You might not think it, but originally it was.
Yeah, dude,
Or
you get
rather,
your buddies over.
it felt like a
Get a
party
LAN
game.
party flying.
Exactly. You used to do LAN parties
yeah.
in Halo. A party game.
And not only that, a lot of the custom game modes like Griffball,
Like
I think it's
Griffball,
called,
like Infection.
are very
They're
like
all very
games
party
you
based.
could play them like on a couch with a friend type thing.
Exactly. And they were all a lot like that. But now if you look at Halo Infinite, it's not that.
It really isn't.
If that makes sense to anybody, but it stopped
Well,
being
not
that
even
because
just Halo Infinite. It kind of appeared in Halo 5 when like the kind of esports was coming
yeah, exactly.
through in droves, kind of thing. And then
I agree with that sentiment, but I don't feel like the issue is the comp scene and the streamers themselves, because if you look at something like,
Not all of them.
what's a good modern
I
day
can't-
example? Okay.
I can't say all of them are bad. There are some. Like there's a Destiny YouTuber that I believe Venti and I watch. Shadow. Shadow something. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know him a lot for making myth videos in Destiny. Like this thing is like a myth confirmed or not, like a myth busted series, but in Destiny. And he actually gives out a lot of helpful advice to people playing the game, and it's awesome because he's just giving you stuff you need. He's like, change your field of view, try doing this, and he's had people get salty at him before, like, oh, you blah blah blah, you clearly don't have the greatest stats or the greatest this, like you have a shit KD, but your headshots is like 80%. You're using a aimbot, and the guy faces them, and they're like, oh shit, I was wrong about that. And then they also check out his channel, and one of them even messaged him even later and goes, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I didn't know that your channel is like that. You're doing really good work. Like it promotes the toxicity in everybody else because now everybody else is trying to sweat. You get
you're hitting the nail on the head, but
it happens to me
just
too.
so close, right? Like you talked about like Destiny and Halo, like ruining the comp scene, but one of the biggest like FPS games to be disrupted by the comp scene is R6, like Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. God.
Like every time a professional player doesn't like is vocal about how they do not like a certain aspect of the game. Like I remember, the fuck was his name? Jaeger, the Jaeger
Yeah.
operator
Yeah.
with his ACOG scope.
Yeah.
Right, his 4 times viewed scope. Well, you don't need that if you're a fucking defender or whatever. So they took it out of the
They
game.
took it out of the game, yeah.
All defenders, not even just Jaeger.
Well, yes.
And that's part of the issue, especially with Destiny. Destiny's the same way. You have those streamers or those competitive players that are the absolute loudest, and the game devs
wanting them as free promotion, essentially.
Exactly. To the streamer's credit, it is the devs at the end of the day that bend the knee to the streamers because of the free promotion and the guaranteed stuff.
True. But the Destiny team is good in that regard, that they actually listen to the rest of the community as well.
Exactly.
For the most part.
There's there's a lot worse examples than the Destiny team, which I completely agree with.
Like the recent Divinity nerf is still like it's nothing. It's just like sure it does half of its debuff than it used to, which makes Night Stalkers now really good because the 25% debuff and how I'm not gonna get into the interworkings of that, but I feel like anybody complaining about the div nerf is really just kind of like salty over nothing, because I mean, like it still worked. They didn't break the gun. Get over it. Like, oh boo-hoo, boss takes slightly more damage now. Like,
yeah, exactly. The boss takes slightly more damage, and you have to do something else. And that's what I mean. It's those people who have all that power and all that publicity using it for shit like that.
Well, and it's a big thing right now with Modern Warfare 2 like releasing recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I haven't even looked into anything about that game.
Actually, Cora's already playing it, and she I think she quite likes it because she is a COD
I feel like I would
person.
like it too, but the thing is, I didn't play Vanguard because of my experience in Cold War.
Yeah.
Right? Cold War was like kind of at the like Modern Warfare 2019 was yes, COD brand new in a new meta, new whatever. Like it started hitting esports. It started like that's when momentum really picked up for streamers, especially what with COVID happening, and then streamers became the ultimate thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I played Cold War and I liked it, but I played it the way I played it, and apparently that was not the way to play it.
Yeah, you always get a ton of people like messages being like, "That's not how you play this game."
Bro, you gotta be using this weapon with this attachment. Like I'm gonna play it the way I want to. Like, so I skipped out on Vanguard altogether because I didn't like it. But I've been hearing a lot of flack from these streamer types that they're not liking Warfare 2. So I'm hoping that they kind of give up on COD altogether so that I can go back, actually enjoy myself playing a game for once.
And that's exactly the thing, especially with all that, because you have people that are just like, I want to play this game to relax, to unwind, because I don't have a ton of time every day. Like, you have people who can only play casually, just getting absolutely dunked on by even other people who want to play casually, but bend to the meta and bend to this constant nonstop sweat, toxic shit talk, everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is why I say it ruins casual gaming, because there isn't casual gaming anymore. It's very
unless you want to play a single player game.
Unless you want to play a single player game or like an actual party game like Mario Party. You're not gonna get a ton of casual gameplay. It just doesn't happen. You have to play very specific games to get that. Like even in Town of Salem and Among Us, not to fucking bring in that, but even there, you get people that are like, "Why are you playing the game this way? That's not how you do that."
Yeah, don't you know you gotta min max?
And don't you know you gotta win? Don't you know you gotta min max
Brennan...
your will in Town of Salem to get literally every scrap of detail you can in there, not just what everybody needs?
Brennan this right off the rip.
Like to play Among Us, That I didn't even encounter that. I can't speak for it now. I haven't touched it in years.
My big example there was Town of Salem because I also have not
Yeah.
touched Among Us, but I can only
Yeah,
imagine with the insane popularity Among Us has gotten that
yeah,
there has to be at least some instances
and they've
of
also
this
changed it a
occurring.
bit. Because back when I was playing it, it was just crewmate and imposter, and
Oh,
Well,
is
I
there
will
more
say
now?
one
Shit.
thing. Among
there
Us
were the
does not
cameras,
take
but that was about it.
Among Us does not take very kindly, like the players don't take very kindly to people in a party. So if like the four of us were
Yeah,
about to hop into like
they'd
they would
get
just
rid of us because we're in a
or
party.
whatever. And you can kind of tell that with the way you move and the way you whatever. Town of Salem, like they could be onto us, right? Like, oh, they're in a party, but they'll never know for sure.
They'll never know for sure because of the way it's structured, right?
Exactly.
Like we go into Town of Salem and parties all the time, and nobody figures it out. Like
Until
No.
we tell them,
like
which
yeah,
sometimes we do.
exactly. And we've had games where we have 5 people per se, which is a third of the 15-player lobby, and we have literally manipulated the game so that all 5 of us are alive, the only people standing, and of course that we all win.
Yeah, well, that game is great, but that game is only great because we blatantly cheated.
Yeah, exactly. We
It's
we had
solid, it's fine, but it's the best when we're just abusing it.
but nobody ever figured it out. They're all like, "Oh, that just happened," because it can happen like that. The game happens like that whether or not I decide we're going to cheat the game. That's just something that happens in that game sometimes. But with everything else, it's like you try to sit down for like a little bit of play on like we play Destiny, and I like Elim because it's a little bit more skill based, or at least towards my
Yeah.
skills, than the capture the flag or control game mode. But like after you play like one match where you completely stomp everybody and you're not trying, and then you get the opposite end where you get stomped and they've probably not trying. It's This is also a problem with matchmaking too, which is that like
Yeah.
where is the skill based matchmaking? Like sure it might take a game or two, but you're pressed to find a game where you go 4-4 against this enemy team and like the final battle is intense. It's a sweep one way or the other most times.
And that's never more
Having
apparent than in Rocket League, where we
Rocket
can
League
get
is the
into
same way.
games and we can flush guys out like 15-0, and then we'll get flushed out 15-0 like the next game. Like
yeah,
it's
I've definitely noticed that with Rocket League, although I used
Especially
to play
with
it a
uh
long time ago.
and our listeners and viewers will notice this when that comes out. You'll see it. Like we get matched with in our like first rank in our first set of Rumble against like platinums
yeah, we're all unranked still.
when we're all unranked,
Yeah.
and like sure Jordan ranked platinum at the end of it, just to give the spoiler, not that anybody really cares, it's Rocket League.
And
But
Rumble.
like and Rumble, yeah, and Rumble at that. But Jordan ranked low platinum, and Hal and I ended up ranking like low gold. So
Yeah.
like, how is it at all fair that we're getting dunked on by these people when we're
Yeah,
just
and we were
stepping
put up
in?
against like Diamond 3s and Grand Champs and
Yeah,
whatever, and I still come out platinum. Like I don't get that.
Yeah.
like half of that is that
To
doesn't make any sense, but everybody gets that point. Like that
True.
it doesn't make any sense, and all of this extra everyone has to play the game exactly like this or be as good as possible is because of that. It all goes back
yeah.
to that big thing
And
of since esports and streaming and all that became that popular, everyone wants to be that because everyone goes, well, I can do that. I can be exactly like that.
well, consider how many times you play an objective based, like say Control in Destiny or Capture the Flag, and you see guys running around and they're top of the leaderboard with combat efficiency, but you have the most points on objective. It's
Exactly.
because they don't
Yeah.
teach you. They like back in the good old days of COD, you didn't like nobody gave a shit how many kills you had.
Yeah, it
Right?
was
It was
all
like
the objective.
It was about playing the objective. It was about whatever. Like, sure, swamping the team in like TDM or like free for all is obviously the point because you're killing to
That's the
points.
objectives.
That's the time you go off, not search and destroy or capture the flag.
Yeah.
Like, you play an objective, you earn points. And
Uh,
they became a little bit better, I think, towards like Cold War,
Yeah,
with earning you more P for playing the
for
actual
doing
game.
the objective. Yeah, I noticed that a lot
Although
more. Just
people
even
weren't
from
doing
watching
that.
Korra, which she was
Well,
like,
people weren't doing that, right? Because they wanted the weapon skins, because
yeah,
the weapon skins were clout, right? So, like, you can only please so many people. Like, they don't make games for us casual homies.
and
comment earlier on the Destiny situation. Um, as somebody who basically for the past year-ish has been somewhat actively trying to get better at Destiny 2 PvP and by proxy PvP games in general. I've noticed that a lot of the time it's and a lot of my experiences before skill-based matchmaking, but a lot of the time it's one-sided one way or the other, and we've already talked about that. And there's the rare games where it's in that sweet spot where it's like actually a little tense.
And
And
those are the best
yeah,
moments.
oh yeah, and those are the best of them.
yeah, and when I've gotten better, like a lot better, as in like when skill-based matchmaking came out, which is only a couple months ago,
Well, it
I've
was
noticed
in.
that
They removed it and then they put it back in
yeah, they added it again,
because
but
this is
for
part of what that was a bunch of streamers and high competitive people were whining about how they had to play actual difficult games against people their skill level,
well,
and they didn't like
only
that,
reason
which
I'm
is
I want to
half
be
of
the
this
funniest
entire
to
reason.
complain.
the only reason I'm currently against skill-based matchmaking is because um it adversely affects the top players as well, and I'm not like saying they necessarily deserve a pity party or anything, but when like the casual top players, for lack of a better term, like the people that don't make videos, the people that
People I would
are
say like
just
Howa and I.
sweaty. Well, no, not even like you or Howa, because they're just sweaty and they only care about efficiency.
You mean the people that have been
Yeah.
created by this phenomenon. Sorry. I thought you were talking about
No,
like
well, not even by the phenomenon itself, more so
phenomenon.
just
Do 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 do.
the fact of
I'm sorry.
like a lot of top players are having issues with people just leaving games because it hurts their KD, and it's just or like for instance,
Oh yeah,
on the
when
top
people just leave
on
because
the
it's not
top
a good
rung of the
match and they
ladder in
just leave.
Destiny 2 for Crucible, I hear that it's very common for people to just leave whenever the map is disjunction and the game won't even start,
Yeah, or if
which
they
is just
w-
fucking mind baffling to me. Which, like, I get why they do it, because, yeah, it's like, oh, your shallow ego, you need to protect it. Sure, fine, whatever. At least you have a reason, even if it's not a good one. But at the same time, it's just like, get over yourself.
yeah.
But that being
Fucking
said, you know what a
Destiny
good
2
way to
Crucible.
combat a good way to combat that problem? Do what I don't fucking know. Halo and Call of Duty have been doing since the dawn of time and add a map like voting
Oh,
system.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
map
too.
voting. Yeah, like there
Also,
it could
just
Halo
make
had that.
fucking Crucible maps, Bungie, please.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't
one based on the new raids you add, which is like only happens once every 2 fucking years, isn't enough, especially since Eternity fucking sucks.
Eternity is not
Although
a
I'm
great
getting
map.
used to it. It's just for my playstyle, it's really bad, but I am getting used to it, and I don't think it's as bad as Disjunction. I
Oh,
don't think,
Disjunction is even worse.
and I don't think this is a controversial
Subjective?
statement. For Control, Disjunction is the fucking worst map in the entire game, and I do not care who you are. That just for general purposes and across the board, as far as the Control scene goes, Disjunction is nobody's favorite. For Elim,
Yeah,
Disjunction is amazing. It's an amazing Elim map, but
I find it
does
still
not work
bad
as a
for
control
that
map.
too, because it
It takes
compresses.
time.
It does take
It
time,
takes
but even then, it compresses to a couple play styles. You can't really play certain
well,
styles on the map because of how it's structured.
well. The thing is I used to agree that way because the way my playstyle, I used to thought just was completely nullified by the map until I learned the map more. I learned like a lot of its sub routes, a lot of like sneaky places you can go, and just learning the map a bit really helps you understand that for control it feels fucking awful, but for Elim it feels good because it feels like it was designed for Elim. Whereas something like Court of Dusk, which is the new King's Fall Crucible map,
Oh,
although it's
cool.
from D1.
Oh, right. It's just brought back.
Yeah. So it's technically not new, but whatever. They can't copy paste it, so it's technically new. Um uh that one feels really good for control because it's a big map, there's lots of space, and you don't have to worry about all the intricacies before you play the map. You can learn them through trial and error without having to like get shafted first. Whereas Disjunction is just claustrophobic and also really open at the same time first couple of times you play it,
Yeah,
and it takes a long time for that feeling to go away. And
that's
this is
fair.
coming from my experience, so like I'm not the be all end all. I'm just saying as somebody who's been actively on the side trying to get better at D2 PvP, I've definitely noticed that I hate Disjunction the most. And I used to hate Twilight Gap a lot, but the more I've played Twilight Gap, the more
Oh yeah.
I've understood that I just need to be more aggressive on this map, which again, I feel like this is more of an issue of the maps and Bungie's negligence of maintenance because I like Bungie, but I'm disenchanted lately with Destiny. I haven't touched it in a couple of weeks, and so I'm kind of by proxy disenchanted with Bungie because I mean, I, I don't care about supporting any type of business really because I don't see how it really matters. If that makes sense.
Someone's not getting Employee of the Month.
To continue the point, that's only one consequence of it. Is all of these are only consequences of this issue, but this is also a product of the much deeper issue, that being uh, the dawn of YouTube and streaming in general. Um, because
Dawn of YouTube feels
the
a little
dawn of
bit
YouTube,
misleading, just for the record.
the creation of YouTube, and
No, that's the part that's misleading. YouTube's been around forever, my dude.
I know that's what I mean. YouTube's been around since then, and I'm talking about then, because we've been a generation raised on that, and on the kind of ideal that no matter who you are, if you do it enough, you can get there. And apropos for me to say, because that's exactly the psychology behind all of this. It's just
Hmm.
done with more quality and a bit more apt than I think a lot of people would typically give to attempting this sort of thing. We're going after it for a bigger prize rather than just being like, I'm gonna start putting shit on YouTube. But it's especially with TikTok um and streaming, a lot of people have been like, "Oh, yeah, I can do it. Like I can do it now. I can just get popular and do this." It's a lot
Ah,
of people who are just getting there. They're not doing it for any reason other than the popularity. And that's part of what ruins that, because if they were someone who could think rationally, or if they were somebody who, like we're planning to do, is planning on making something bigger, then they could rationalize that, yeah, the divinity got nerfed and it didn't really hurt anything. Instead, you have people that are getting upset about it for popularity. Because
and
it's
there's also,
unpopular, they did it.
and also on a side note on that, also people attacking the streamers when the devs do nerf something that the streamers do say and immediately assuming that it's because the streamers said it. I feel like is also really stupid.
Oh, on the
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
Because
on the other
I
extreme of
know
that,
for a fact the general person doesn't think about how much effort goes into a game for
or no,
just to be
not even
just to
just
be
thinking about,
blunt.
but like
And
to know.
so yeah, and so like to just immediately assume that it's because the streamer said it is so fucking arrogant
Yeah,
because
on the other side
the
of that,
devs literally that that's not how games work, or at least good games anyways. Like um most dev teams don't just do things. They think and then they do the things they do.
yeah, or at least, well, they have to, because
They
code
cost
code
resources
takes time and a
and
and a lot of
resources.
money. Well, time is a very big resource, but yeah, it takes a lot of everything to make a game, to make anything significant. Like,
Yeah. Even just a patch.
and yeah, this is why I'm saying it's not the devs' fault, because the devs try to do what's best for their game. Well,
Yeah.
assuming that they care and assuming that it's a good quality game, and we're not talking about like EA here.
Yeah. I feel like a good example for like a relatively uh Goldilocks zone company is Bungie. Like not to like fanboy them or anything, but I feel like they do a very good
They do their
middle.
best with a very fickle audience.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I
that's
feel like
how I would
they're a very
describe the
good
Destiny community
middleman.
is very, very fickle, including and especially the streamers, as is this whole
Because
point. They're just fickle. Like, you can do one thing, but it'll piss off somebody else, or like they're like they make a comment like, "Oh, you guys won't be getting that exotic back because it's a part of a
if
different team's kit." And that person
yeah,
got death threats
I know
for
it's like
saying, "Oh yeah, you guys aren't going to be getting you guys aren't getting a
Curse of the
single piece
Fallen
back."
Star or
No,
whatever.
Twilight Garrison,
That's what it
where
was.
the guy was like, "Yeah, sorry fellas,
Yeah,
since Arc 3.0 is
literally
happening, you're
just
not getting it back."
and
However,
that's all he said.
they did
Literally all he said.
that's literally all he said, and he did neglect to mention that we were getting something like it back.
Yeah, but that's not
But
any
but
fault of
that's
his
but that's
own.
not the point. He probably was told not to.
Exactly. Also, it would be dumb to, because
It would have been
it's like
dumb to, exactly.
it was a very nice surprise.
Because I found it out
Because
and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I still use it.
as
It's the best Arc Titan ability."
having played much Titan since Witch Queen came out, because I only touched Titan since Season of the Lost until very recently. Um, I love the arc
Thruster.
dash. Yeah, because it's also different enough from a hunter dodge that I don't
Yeah, it's also
actually
different from
I
Icarus
really
Dash,
like it. Yeah, yeah,
which is
that's
the
one thing I
Warlock's
really
air
like
dodge.
about the three dash abilities in the game is that they're all different. And
They all sort of fit the
Hunter's
style.
dodge isn't technically even a dash because it's a dodge. And I don't know, I really like that they're their own things.
But yeah, and that's how you can tell there's a lot of care put into the game because it feels different. But to go back to
Yeah,
it, yeah, if you're the fans making or like getting upset, like actually upset about these things, you need to
yeah.
fucking chill out.
Although another thing I feel is kind of important is it's also part of Bungie's fickle audience is kind of their own making
Oh,
because of how watered down they made the game. Like they fucking
a lot of
eh,
I think a good analogy is you can't really be that upset with the company you've allowed into your own house if you know that they're
yeah,
acting that way. Like, if you know somebody's probably
yeah,
gonna break half your fine china when they come into your house because that's just something they do, you I won't really give you that much room to complain that that person went and broke your fine china like everyone would have expected them to.
The only reason I bring it up is because like a lot of rating in Destiny is basically the way that they look at difficulty, besides the mechanic. But then once you learn the mechanic, they're like, okay, well now we have to have the boss, therefore just give it a lot of health,
Yeah.
and then they move on. And it's just like I imagine it's a bit more intricate than that, but on a surface level, that's basically what I've seen and what I've heard from people who do raid. Um, and from what the little bit I have done from raiding and dungeons, I can totally agree. Besides for something like the Chamber of Suffering, most encounters are just this thing have big health bar, do damage phase, and then do it again until die. And it's just like, okay. And so to and when they released Divinity, it became even more of an issue because Bungie was like, okay, now everybody's gonna have Divinity because we made this gun too good. Which, in my opinion, I think Divinity should have been 15 from the start, and I don't know why they even made it 30 to begin with.
To break away from Destiny here, because that wasn't that was a very specific point in the overall topic. It just happens to be the game we play the most, I think. So it's a lot of confirmation bias, at least for Venti and myself, because I know Jordan likes to play a lot of COD, and I know that Cora's playing Apex right now.
I also used to play a lot of Overwatch.
Did somebody just die?
That's a
Yeah.
you know what? Let's segue into that. Speaking of shitty gaming stuff, Overwatch. What the fuck?
Oh, what did they do this time?
No,
I
sorry.
know what they did this
lot
time.
of things.
Yeah, something actually illegal in some countries. I will want to update this for their Halloween event, because
Oh, they did?
they did something actually illegal,
Oh my
but it's a very, very technicality, but it's very much still like federal level illegal.
Oh boy.
So if you've been in the dark about this, which has probably a lot of people, since probably a lot of people don't follow Overwatch very tightly or aren't on Twitter or blah blah blah, or TikTok, which is where I found this and where Cora found this. But what they've done is for their Halloween event, they've bundled all their skins together for the Halloween event. I think that's the only way you can attain them too. And they put it at a bargain, at a quote unquote discounted price,
Yeah.
without
That's
giving
very illegal.
individual prices for each thing.
That's illegal.
So you can't say it's discounted, because you can just make up whatever number you want.
That is in fact very illegal.
That and there's a this is probably what Jordan and Nick thought I was talking about. There's a charm in Overwatch that costs more in real life than it does in the fucking game.
No, it costs more in the game.
Oh, costs more in the game sorry, the more absurd one. Yeah, it costs more in the game than it does in real fucking life.
Because how it goes is like
it's like $7 in real life.
Retails for like $7 or whatever, but in the store it costs fuck it, I don't know, some random ass number, 700 of the Overwatch credits.
And that translates to like $20 to $30.
Yeah, like if
in real money,
because you can't buy just 700, right? You can buy 500, and then the next one up is 1,000.
Yeah, it's like how Bungie does their silver marketing, which by the way is predatory as fuck.
Sure is, but when it says I get 100 free ones after I pay, it makes me feel happy.
The psychological trick they play on you there is not exactly the most helpful.
I've been very good. I don't buy silver anymore.
I only bought it for that Mech Titan suit because Gundams was cool, and I voted for that.
I did the thing Venti told me to hold on to my Bright Dust, and I bought it with Bright Dust.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of Bright Dust, but there were so many emotes in a row that like exotic that I wanted that I was like, nah, I got this shit. I need it.
Every time I saw an emote that was exotic that I might have wanted, I was just like, I asked myself, am I gonna use these over the ones I already love? And I told myself, hell no. And then I immediately closed the Eververse store.
Doesn't stop me from browsing though.
That aside, Overwatch pulling some absolutely ridiculous shit like that, which like Come on, like even beyond all the rest of the stuff, like the supposed bug that we talked about, that
Yeah.
when inputs into the game make you buy shit from the store.
Or I use my Reaper ult and I pay for some dude's yacht.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, like that's not a bug. You cannot convince me that's a bug. Like,
It's a different feature.
it's a
You
different.
have your gameplay feature and then your store feature.
It's a different interface entirely.
Exactly. Like instead of just sending you, because it's essentially just technically sends you to your Steam marketplace or your
Yeah,
fucking Xbox store, right? But it just keeps you in the game,
it
so
keeps
you
you
don't have to
in
go
the
back and
game.
forth.
Which, by the way, if you want to buy shit in a game, at least on Xbox, it forces you into the store.
Thank God.
Exactly. If you don't have enough of the in-game currency.
Yeah, if you
Which
don't have enough on hand, if you have to buy it,
is
it
a different
forces you.
beast.
It forces you to go into the store,
Which is so nice,
which I see as a safety measure because it gives you that
it
little bit of
literally asks you.
I don't want to actually buy this. Fuck that.
And on the
Well,
top of
even
things-
better to bring it back to Destiny for just a second. I have a code that I have to input using controller inputs to unlock my bank information on my
Oh,
Xbox.
okay.
So
that's smart.
if I wanted to browse the new expansion that's coming out in a few months, and I click on that tab, it'll immediately tell me to input that code. To which I can just click B and I back out
and
entirely.
forgo it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
It
makes
doesn't
me
do that when I have
confused.
to buy currency, though. It just sends me to the store, to which I have to select the item, put in my code, confirm
Exactly.
payment.
Exactly. And
Like, there's all sorts of steps I have to take
All-
before that happens.
all that to say, that's something that the console puts in front of you.
Yeah.
So they call it a bug that forgoes the console's coding. Something
I mean,
entirely
Yeah.
to be
something
fair,
entirely
do we know
separate
that
to it.
Do we know that bug affected the consoles?
We don't, but that, you know what? That is completely fair.
I don't
I can't
want to
make
give
that
them
statement.
credit. Like, to be fair,
To be completely fair, yes, that's
I mean, you've got a point.
I have to
Is
concede
there no
that
safety
point.
feature like that you can put on your Steam or your fucking BattleNet or wherever?
It
Your
We
Epic
don't know enough
Games?
about
depends on the
that.
game.
I think it
Certain
depends on
tiers,
the
a lot
game
of it depends on the game.
because a
Although
lot of Steam is
99%
like
of
you just
fucking
open it.
games will in fact not do that. So I still feel like that's not much of an excuse. Like it's
I
just
feel like
it's just
you
a
have to
very
confirm a
tiny bit
payment
of
if you're doing it.
That's
leeway.
exactly why everyone has a problem with this because you do have
Exactly.
to.
Which
So-
I mean,
It's
is
but
good.
the biggest problem, sure it can be a bug. Sure. That's at least if you can show me where the code went wrong, I can eventually be okay with the fact that this bug is a real thing. However, it's the response. When
Yeah.
Blizzard goes, "Oh, we can't refund that. All purchases are meant to be final."
Which is just like, okay, buddy.
That's theft.
That is super theft.
That's just what that is. If you take something that I didn't confirm because of a known bug in your game, like
Yeah, a
a
known
known
bug.
bug that you have yet to fix, that I had to pay for unknowingly.
At least, I don't know, at least compensation for the accounts that have been affected, like
Yeah.
they did with that whole Rogers incident
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in the summer, where everybody got, like everybody who was on the Rogers plan.
When it
was-
went fucking to shit.
Yeah, and then what, they gave you fucking however many gigabytes extra on your plan
Yeah.
of data or something, cellular data or whatever.
They
like,
just gave you a
compensated
bunch of
that.
shit. Exactly.
And that was an unforeseen circumstance,
Yeah.
mind you. This was a known, quote unquote known bug that they didn't intentionally put in the game. In big quotes.
Yeah, exactly.
That siphoned your money.
That just takes your money. Like,
yeah, dude, send that little fucking $13 charm or that $7 charm. Give it to everyone.
Yeah.
Give it to everyone.
something, anything to show that it's like, shit, yeah, we did fuck that up. Sorry, whoops.
A little bit of merch, a little bit of in-game kind of stuff, or I don't know, fucking what they paid for, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't just. Well, I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's a code where you can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't just title a price tag on something that doesn't exist. Give them what they paid for.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. To get into the next topic, because we've dominated this almost an hour of podcast thus far with this topic. The Ontario political situation.
Oh boy.
Holy fuck! At
I
least
know nothing about this.
I know
Oh,
nothing.
this is fun. This is stuff.
I have not looked at it this entire week. All I know was what I saw last Friday and over the weekend, which I'll break down what I know first, or the event that has spurred me into this conversation, was our EAs, our educational assistants, have attempted to go on strike to get more compensation for the things they have to deal with, and
Literally just being paid more,
literally
just to be
just
clear.
being paid more. Yes, because to bring light to what these people have to deal with, as you can expect, EAs deal with the children with educational disadvantages. I want to find a very
Like,
clean way to say that
it's
they-
not even that. Like
these-
EA is like the people going on strike are the janitors, the teaching assistants. Basically,
Yeah.
if you walk into school and aren't a teacher, those are the people going on strike.
Yeah. If
Okay,
you're not
alright.
a teacher, everyone's gone on strike. I did know about the janitors, but I didn't know how far it reached. But yeah,
Yeah, it's everybody but teachers.
everybody that
And teachers wanted to
supports
help.
exactly everyone that
Teachers have a
supports the school,
different union.
everyone that supports the school
Which makes
and the
sense.
teachers want to be paid more. And it's like, if you've ever been in a school, which I'd hope you would have been if you're in any position of power, you would probably give them what they want. Like, I'll be completely honest, kids are fucking demons. Like,
It's an issue in America too.
it's an issue everywhere, because to get this into extreme overreach, when you have an uneducated population or an undereducated population, they are far easier to control,
Yeah.
which is the issue. But I'm not going to go that far into those political leanings. I'll just say that the government of Ontario decided, or at least the educational minister decided, that the support workers in schools weren't allowed to go on strike, which is
Yeah, they weren't allowed
which
to go on
is
strike.
unconstitutional, or rather, for Canadians, against our Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Did you
Well,
at least give a
remember-
reason why?
Yes.
No.
See, Brennan is going into very little
Yeah,
detail.
I'm
yes.
gonna allow Nick
He's putting it in.
to go. This is, like I said, I'm giving the general overview before we dive headlong into this, because Nick
I'm not
actually
saying
has
that
more of
makes
that
it
information
okay.
than I do.
I just want to hear dog shit excuse.
And of course,
We'll get there.
and-
I have it.
and of course, my dad's a teacher, and the funniest line that he said to me all weekend was like, "Yeah, the teacher's contract is up in like 3 weeks or 3 months. The real fight hasn't even started."
Yeah, no kidding. Just
Like,
wait and
this is-
like
This is the opening fight of the Coliseum, where the tigers get to fight each other. We haven't even sent in people yet. This is just like the beginning of this problem, especially under this administration that's cut a lot of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
especially in healthcare and education, which is like, how? Also, where's it going? Like,
oh, I mean, it all harkens back to whoever's in charge.
yeah, and of course, it's like, Ontario doesn't have a military defense budget that you can excuse to this. No, we're just putting cuts on healthcare.
Putting cuts on healthcare, cuts on education, so our leaders can get dizzy. Like
Yes.
I am so
in the
glad
time.
that I had enough willpower to force that down because I started taking a drink and you said get crunk, get dizzy, and I was like, oh, I need all of the willpower right now.
Well, it goes back to the whole COVID thing again, right?
Yeah.
Like our leaders, I don't want to fucking say his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Wanted
we've
to
given you
shut
all the
down the
information.
schools. Wanted to shut down the schools and label them as a non-essential service, right? Which fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
safe.
yeah, yeah.
It's safe. It's
Let's
safe.
talk about that.
We moved to the online learning, which is fine. This is
Yeah.
it was a problem with contact. We've eliminated the problem with contact. Fine.
Specifically
But
because we moved to online. If he had not had that plan, this would have been a way bigger issue. Although
this
it
would have
does
been a
still
way
get
bigger
worse.
issue. However, marijuana stores and liquor stores became top priority in our country, in the province of
Yeah,
Ontario,
completely essential.
because
On the
of
level with grocery
because of our
stores.
leaders. Because of our leaders. And do y'all remember that trucker thing that happened a few months back?
Oh my god.
That trucker thing.
There's some updates on
I'm gonna
that I thought were really funny.
I'm gonna say his name. Trudeau specifically enacted this you can't protest anymore thing that they've done again.
Yeah, this is the bill that they've passed is in relation to that. Is my knowledge of the events.
They did that in Ottawa and now they're doing it again. They did that in Ottawa for truckers who like demanded their own rights to being healthy and to being paid. Like these were people in a
when you said
pandemic.
truckles, that's not the truckle protest that anyone ever.
I was thinking
It
of
was
the bad
though.
one.
The big one, the bad one.
Yeah, I was
The
thinking of
truckers led into
one
the
that
big
happened-
bad one.
Yeah, I was thinking of the one that happened in Quebec.
Yes.
No.
The whole
it
trucker
was
thing
it was
led
only
into
ever in Ottawa.
No,
really?
it was everywhere. It was just Ottawa was the biggest part of it.
Because it's the capital of Canada.
Well,
I
if you
didn't
think
know
about it
that
this
it
way.
was-
To be clear on this point, there were a bunch of conservative truckers who demanded that the vaccine mandate was bad, and then
That's what I was
held
thinking about.
Ottawa hostage for
Well,
2
not
weeks.
just them. It was other people who didn't like the safety mandates.
Yeah,
Who were like
there's other
just trying to
people
get a
who were-
slice of that pie.
Who were just trying to get
The
a slice of
truckers-
the Ottawa pie. Yeah.
The truckers
what
just
I
wanted
thought.
to protest their rights to continue working, and then the others made it big and bad.
Yeah, a lot.
enacted the
Still misrepresenting the situation.
I
but
also
it's-
so
not really
to-
though. Like it's
to-
pretty well.
to bridge the gap here, the leadership of that thing, the leadership who designed it, were definitely the way what Nick is saying, but there were I can't say there weren't people there that were trying to do what Jordan's saying. It's just everyone else tried to get a slice of that pie, and
It was a spark and it
this is also
fueled something
massively off
crazy.
topic because they all unrelated.
These are unrelated. This is a
And
related,
that's exactly it.
a
That
topical
was
but
the
not
whole
relevant
point.
topic.
No, but like the precedent for the union thing that we're talking about is different. Still, like how the union thing works is that the government and the union go to the table, they argue it out, they try and get something, and after some amount of time, what'll happen is the government will eventually legally enforce a particular
Contract.
agreement. And
Yeah.
so that's normal. I'm not going to say that it's good, but that's normal.
That's what happens.
What happened this time is so normally when that sort of thing happens, they go on they hash it out. When they don't agree, they go on strike for a while, and then it's legally enforced eventually, sometime after the strike's been going on. What happened this time is they said, "Okay, we're going to strike. We've put in we're going to strike notice."
We've approached it
And
legally.
then the government said, "Okay, we're going to force this thing in before you've even started striking." And to do
Yeah.
so, they needed to use a very specific legal clause, which has only been used once before then, to say no, you're not allowed to strike. We're going to force you into this particular agreement.
Which
And then they
is
had the
shitty in its
audacity to
own.
call the people striking heavy-handed and that they're hurting the children because schools are forced to close. As if the problem wasn't caused by the government.
The problem that is caused by the government, but we already have like a duct tape solution. Online learning. The teachers can still do their jobs, the students can still learn, the QP can go on strike while the building is not in use, and then they resolve the strike, classes go back. This didn't have to happen like this.
Yeah, there were so many different ways that they could have resolved this, and especially like that, there could have been like the government could have said, "Okay, yeah, we'll move to online learning while we discuss this." That way, the kids
that is
aren't
what
hurt.
they were doing. So just to be clear, this strike lasted Friday, Monday, and then they wouldn't have done any actual striking over the weekend. So I don't know if you want to count it as 4 days or 2 days. But it is important to note that during those 2 days, it was online learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the government broke after 2 days.
So yes,
I mean, yeah,
I'm unfamiliar this far.
Because
have they gone back to the table?
Yes.
As far as Tuesday, I'm pretty sure they did. That's what I had heard.
Monday that they've had the agreement that they would go back to the table if the notwithstanding clause, which is the thing that used to force the agreement, was revoked. I don't remember if it's actually been revoked, but it's been agreed that they will revoke it.
And just to say, like, holy shit, it took you the dumbest move, like the dumbest trump card in your sleeve, and you used it, and then you saw what, like, talk about Schrodinger's douchebag.
Yeah. Hey guys, it was just a joke. Like, just a couple of goofs.
Like, they throw it down, and then they see the entire province go, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, no, we didn't mean to do that. We can go back to the table now.
Like America, except a lot of the time America's too stubborn to change anything.
And it's like, even conservatives who supported the current premier, however you want to pronounce it, and of course his party or his leadership, even they were like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see a lot of dissent on that side. That doesn't mean it didn't exist.
I didn't see a lot of it, but I did hear one or two instances of a couple of people going, what? Like, excuse me? What did you just do?
Well, even like his backers, like in the political system, were kind of like, "Hey, oh, wait a minute."
Like, yeah, everyone that wasn't
feeling all right? You need a glass of water.
Everyone that wasn't the educational minister, who was,
the scum of the earth.
Yeah,
it was like all for it. Yeah.
Who was like, he was like, these people are ridiculous. Like, look at what they've done. Like, as if you're not the one responsible. You're the one who made them have to do it.
Dude, did you know that our educational minister is not a teacher, has never taught, has no kids that have ever been in school?
Man, as
he has no connection to education.
If only those were important priorities to education.
Yeah, this guy is like the least qualified person to be a minister of education.
Yeah, the person who runs education. No wonder shit's going sideways. Somebody who's never been in a school is fucking calling the shots.
Ungrateful. Back in my day, head ass, you know? And grow a backbone.
Except when they do, he's like, "You're not allowed to do that."
I can't say too much because I don't live in Ontario.
Only I'm allowed to do that.
I have a lot of similar experiences, so.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Although I will say,
but it's not uncommon to have similar things.
Yeah, to have
all over the place.
And it's a shame because education is the most powerful resource that people have against the government.
Yeah, the children of the future.
And of course, that's not even to mention, like Jordan just said, the future. Education
like
is the
what?
most critical resource.
What, you want some 10th grader now to sit in the educational minister's seat, like, I don't know, 50 years from now, and have them do the exact same thing you did? Like,
And
Yeah,
it's
just like
extremely disheartening to see that a lot of these leaders, everywhere entirely, aren't thinking about the future.
exactly.
Because I can tell, Jordan and I have had this conversation before.
yep,
I won't bring it
corporate
back around to
greed.
this. I won't bring it back around to that. But the leaders that don't think about the future because of what they've got right in front of them. I'm gonna say it right now. How much good is that money gonna do you when you're fucking 6 feet under? You're gonna have a nice box you're buried in, and that's it.
Yep.
That's it.
But
So
Brennan, what you fail to understand is that they all thinking to the future, not to their own money. Well, they all thinking to the future of their own money, but they're also thinking that with stupider people means more conservative voters, and that's not a joke. It's a legitimate statistic.
I'm gonna say uneducated. I'm gonna keep saying uneducated because that's
That's
the professional
fair,
word. But
but I don't
because
respect
because
the
I know a lot of
politicians enough.
I know a lot of stupid people, or people I would consider stupid, that aren't conservative. So I'm gonna stick with uneducated.
Cool. I'll
Well,
rephrase
yeah.
that
What are
to
their full names
uneducated.
and
I'll read
addresses?
stands either way.
Jordan Patterson. Uh,
Yeah, buddy doesn't even know.
I'm gonna fucking. I'm DMing it
Buddy
to you
can't even
right now.
pronounce the street. I will say though,
I'm not gonna
it's
dox you on the
I know,
podcast.
on the podcast. I will say it's fun to be in the limelight though. Like, like after all these years, it's always been like, oh, check out what the United States is up to right now. Like, what a dumpster
Yeah, what
fire,
a
am I
fucking
right?
shit show. And now it's
Damn,
turned
he
around
just
on
doxed
us.
me to myself.
Yeah, I sent him his own address just to prove it. No one else is gonna see that because I do actually respect his privacy and his rights as a human being. But
Unlike our government.
you know what?
You know what?
Vote me for government.
I was just about to say that.
Vote
Brennan
Brennan.
Ray for Prime Minister.
Dude, we should run
My campaign
for
slogan's gonna
local
be tough on
politics, and
stupid.
then... No, wait, hold on. I just had the best idea.
The run for local politics.
We run for local politics. We move so we're all in a different ward. I don't think we're all any of us are in the same ward, but that might not be true. And then we just town of Salem it, where we have 5 members.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah,
have some number of people
Okay.
that are all in different wards,
Okay.
all of us running
I like
the
it.
city.
I
What the
like
hell is
it.
this company? Saints Row? Like,
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that conspiracy? What is that a crime?
No, it
no,
couldn't
no,
be.
but like the Saints Row, they moved from like
Yeah,
small
yeah,
businesses
they
to
moved to
being
small
president of
business
the
to being
United
president.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually a
Like,
political front to gain us followers.
We make a small YouTube
I'm gonna climb the
channel.
ladder.
What
First-
idea we've all had.
First
We
it's
write an
mayor,
amazing
then it's
television
premier,
show,
and then it's prime minister. I'm going all the way to the top.
and then it's king of the world.
And then it's king of the world. Yeah, once I develop my superpowers.
Yay.
Yeah, those superpowers coming in. Little late bloomer, huh?
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, if I had the superpowers that I gave myself in a fictional universe,
Evil
This-
OC.
this world would be very
My
different.
OC, please
Yeah,
do not steal.
My OC, please do not steal. Hey, well, guess what? All of you have one of them in that universe, too. Actually, no,
true.
Jordan, you're special. You got 2.
I got 6.
You know,
I created them all.
he did got 6. He did make a bunch of them. Speaking of which, Nick, if you want to do that, you're absolutely free to do that. I just...
We need to have a much lengthier conversation.
We do
about
have to have a much
less-
length...
much more baseline things.
We really do, because we've wanted to have that conversation forever. Like, even, like, about 5 times as long as we've wanted to do couples therapy, and we just have not had that
Alright.
conversation. I will say, though, Nick, you're in the writing group chat, which has been buried probably in your DMs on Discord. It's called
Have
Writing
you been
Stuff.
putting things in it?
There's stuff all the way back in there.
but has anything new been added? Because
Um,
yeah, I have it. I'm opening it right now.
the
The
plot
the
synopses.
channel icon was changed in 2021, and nothing has happened since.
Listen, it's also because I haven't done a ton of work since late 2021.
And also, all of his major stories go to my DMs.
Oh no, I have what should be the Oh no. Oh wait, no.
All your
8
major new
is.
threads end
Oh
up in my DMs
fuck.
on some TLDR shit. Like,
So,
oh,
oh yeah,
I gotta get the reading glasses.
that's because I don't know if Nick's
Sit down
comfortable with
for a
that
good hour.
with that word vomit yet because we haven't had this exact conversation. But the two documents right above the timeline of the fantasy world, which by the way, amazing piece of content. So just to break it down, this is from Monkey's Paw Games on Twitter.
At Monkey Paw Games at twitter.com.
Yeah, I want to source it because it's funny. Timeline of the fantasy world: the founding, war, something happened with magic, war, the event, you know the one, post-event war.
Post-event war.
Which Jordan and Nick, if you read lore bits, which it should be the most currently accurate, those both should be the most currently accurate. Um, I'll look to see if they're not and put in the new ones, but that's exactly how it'd be. Like, that's just exactly
I've
it.
been writing a D&D homebrewed world, and absolutely this is exactly what it looked like. And then I found this after.
The universe gets created, a bunch of war, something with magic somewhere, it happened, and then another war, and then the event.
Literally, yes.
The event, how ominous.
And then another war.
I think Jordan might be wrong about this, so I'm gonna ask him once we wrap this up because we're just about done.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask him which event he thinks it is, because I know which one it is, but I mean I also know all of it.
Yeah, true.
So it's not really exactly for me to say, but
And judging by how you said I might be wrong, you know exactly what I'm thinking.
I might know exactly what you're thinking, but you also might be thinking the right one. But there's a lot of the events. It's just not. It just might not be that one. Anyway, that's been episode 11.
Long story short, support your local unions. They also
Yeah.
stand in the way between you and absolute boot-crushing tyranny.
And now remember, the last time that they instated the "you're not allowed to strike" act was when everyone went on strike. So I would like the government to remember that before we have to make that a reality. Thank you for coming to episode 11. I didn't expect to end it with.
Government's gonna jump right
Yeah.
to episode. Oh man, I can't wait to see what the Royal Nerds podcast is gonna. Wait a minute, this is against me.
Hey, wait a minute! These guys are trying to run for mayor. Also,
Okay,
yes,
I gotta say one
vote
thing.
Brennan.
There was a 16-year-old who ran for mayor here, just for the record.
Wait, what
Did
was
he
he a
win?
mayor or was he a counselor?
No, mayor. He ran for mayor.
Oh.
He was a write-in, like he wasn't actually on the
Oh, okay.
But
Oh
he
my
did a bunch of like TikTok stuff and was like, "I want to run for mayor. I'm gonna run for mayor." And then he apparently he had a video with the guy who won, because he had one of his points.
Oh,
was he
wasn't that
wanted
the guy who wanted to
Chick-fil-A.
put a Chick-fil-A? Yeah.
That's
I
fucking
know
awesome. That's
one of
fucking
his
awesome.
campaign promises is he wanted to put a Chick-fil-A in town.
That's
So
fucking
he actually
awesome.
had a video with the mayor who actually won, saying, "You know what? We can work together on this."
Hell yeah. Anyway,
Long story
nothing is
short, not all is
impossible.
bad.
not all is bad. London's
Chick-fil-A.
gonna get a Chick-fil-A. Hell yeah, gamers. All right. Well, thanks everybody coming for
Time to get that
episode 11.
homophobic chicken.
the Christian chicken. Thank you all for coming to episode 11 of King's Court, and join us next time when I run for mayor.